Hey guys, this is Dean here with ASAP House Buyers. I want to do a quick video on the foreclosure process in Alberta. If you have been saying I need to stop foreclosure on my house in Calgary or just avoid foreclosure altogether, I want this video to help you. In cases like this, when you're dealing with the biggest asset in your life, really, knowledge is power, and we want you to have as much knowledge as possible. Before I forget, at the bottom of this page, at the bottom of this video, there is a free guide or a link to a guide on our website that will talk about everything that I'm saying here in this video, but also it will give you some more help as well. So, with that, let's get started. So, foreclosure happens when you uh, don't have enough money in your account for your mortgage payment, or, um, well, I guess that's the main thing. Yes, is when you can't make your payment. So, on your first payment that gets bounced, or what we call NSF, which stands for insufficient funds, the bank will reach out to you. This is the sign that to the banks that there could be an issue. So at that point, they're going to have a chat with you and find out when they can expect money. Usually, there's a small cost for the NSF payment. It can range anywhere from $25 to $100. But they want to know when they're going to get their money. Next step is if that payment is not made current, then what will happen is they will send a demand letter, usually after the second missed payment. Now, a demand letter is usually going to be sent by the bank's lawyer. Not always, but generally it's sent by the bank's lawyer, but it could be sent by the lender directly or a collections company as well. Either way, in essence, what it's going to say is you need to bring things up to snuff. You need to bring all your payments current. Otherwise, we're going to take this straight to a foreclosure claim. So that's the pre-foreclosure process before you get the foreclosure, the statement of claim. Up until this point, you're still good. It still hasn't really affected your credit. We have tons of options as to how we can help you, so just bear that in mind. However, the next step is they will file a foreclosure claim. And what that looks like is it's going to come in a letter from the Court of Queen's Bench, and it will basically say you're being sued. Your name, whoever's on title, etc. Now, what you should do anytime you get something like that from Court of Queen's Bench is you should consult a lawyer. And that is one of the first things that we would say. There's a few things that you can do once you've been served with this statement of claim. I'll go through them real quick. You can repay the balance. That's all the money's all the bank is looking for is for their money. You can do a statement of defense, which rarely helps because basically you haven't made payments, so there isn't really a judge that's really going to stand in your favor since the payments haven't been made. You can do a demand of notice. So if you want to try and sell it, basically that just means that you want the bank to keep you apprised of what their next steps are each step of the way so that there's no surprises. You can take no action, and this is the worst thing you could do is just avoid phone calls from the bank, don't respond to letters, or possibly even midnight move. Worst thing you could do, basically the bank is going to be able to jump to the end of the foreclosure process by you doing that. So we really don't recommend that. You can do a quit claim. That's option 5. Basically, just the borrower agrees to give the title to the lender. And then option 6 is you can consent to the foreclosure. However, there's repercussions to that. Again, in this case, you would want to talk to a real estate lawyer. There are tons and tons of nuances to all of these things. So this is meant for information purposes only, just so you know what the next steps are. All right. Once it goes through one of those things that you choose, there's typically a redemption period, as long as you haven't obviously given title back or midnight moved on them. But there is typically a redemption period of somewhere on average of 3 to 6 months. And where that varies is really if there's any equity in the property. So if we go through the redemption period, you don't bring things current, you don't sell the property, you don't find another solution, at that point, the court steps in and they list it as a judicial sale. And you've probably seen those judicial sales listed on Kijiji. Court ordered sale of judicial lands is one of the typical things that you'll see. Now, if it goes through that and no bids are submitted, or bids aren't submitted high enough, then basically it would go back to the lender. It would be basically called an order of foreclosure, and that would go back to the lender. And so those are the steps. And once it gets back to the lender, not that it would matter after that point, but basically they would list it with a realtor. So here's what matters is, how do we stop or avoid foreclosure in Alberta? Number one, sell the house. If you have equity, pull it out, sell the house, move on. Typically, people can save anywhere from $300 to $1,000 a month by selling their house and becoming renters until they can rebuild, till they can get things in order in their life, so that perhaps they can purchase another home down the road. Another thing you can do is you can talk to your lender. See if they will amend the terms of the loan. Maybe they will reduce your payments for a short term. And again, it all depends on your situation. Every situation is different. But the absolute last thing that you can do, that we don't recommend, is bankruptcy. And bankruptcy would require not only talking to a lawyer, but we would also recommend talking to a bankruptcy trustee, because they have different options available, which is a whole nother video. But it will stay on your record for quite a while. You really don't want that to be an option unless it's a last resort. So in closing, get as much information as you can. Speak to a realtor. Speak to a lawyer. If need be, speak to a bankruptcy trustee, and it doesn't even have to be us, speak to a recognized, respected local house buyer. Because as far as a company that can solve an issue quick, we are very, very responsive when it comes to foreclosure processes. And we want to, if nothing else, give you enough information so that you can make the best choice, whether that's going with us or not. At the end of the day, it's not a good thing for anybody when foreclosures happen, and so we're just looking to provide that information. So if I can help, this has been a fairly general video, but if I can help in any way, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Again, Dean from ASAP House Buyers, and you can reach me directly at 403-613-8119. I'd be happy to help in any way I can once I get a bit more information, because as I said, every situation is different. There's no way for me to make a video that would apply to all such situations. So with that, I'll sign off. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you found this video helpful. And I didn't forget, at the bottom of this page will be a link. You can go and get a free guide to avoid foreclosure at our website. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. Take care.